What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Good evening.
Some really crazy shit went down this week.
Howdy.
Anyway, welcome to Nerd Culture Class, guys. Yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. George Peter Gatzis, thanks for being here. Tom, as usual. And you know what? Real quick though, how was your weekend, Tom?
That wasn't bad. Actually went and saw Sonic on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was actually decent.
That's what everybody's saying.
Wasn't it funny? I mean, really.
I mean, I watched that movie pitch video where they were talking about how like the ridiculous parts of it, where it's like why it's like what can't he just, and he could run from one side of the country to in like half a second, but he can't run to get this. Well, it's like, well, no, he's gonna just get into a truck that goes 60 miles an hour and have a road trip.
Well, they covered that because he doesn't know where he's going. Because the one guy told him, he's like, yeah, go to San Francisco, just like head west to get there. And he like came back like 3 seconds later with a fish on his head and covered in seaweed. And he's like, the ocean's cold.
So basically he's too dumb to figure out where he's going.
Right. Yeah, Sonic isn't the brightest hedgehog in the drawer.
But no, everybody says like, they said it's actually a pretty it's actually a decent movie.
Yeah, it's actually fairly well written. The plot is interesting because it's actually just as much of a origin story for Dr. Robotnik. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually just as much of his origin story as it is for Sonic. And
then Jim Carrey really did deliver great humor.
He did, but if you don't like Jim Carrey, don't go see it, because if you're like, I hate that guy, it's Jim Carrey. So
what the fuck?
So,
but I like Jim Carrey, so that's okay with me. I actually
then go see it. You'll like it.
Yeah, I intend to, but I actually went. Dude, this is how behind I am. I just saw 1917. I just saw it on Friday.
So what did you
think
of that?
Movie. It's a really good movie. Yeah. Really, really good movie. Love that movie. But that's how far behind I am, man. I'm like stacked up, backed up.
Yeah, we already talked about this.
Yeah,
before we came on.
Yeah, I got read the Riot Act, and I admit it. I deserve it. But Mr. George Peter Gatzis, sir, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited to discuss all things pop culture. And I'm really, really excited to let everyone know that I am teaming up with a bunch of artists from Comicsgate to draw puzzle cards with my Joe King character.
Cool. Very, very cool, sir. And we're going to, obviously at the end of the show, we'll let you plug your thing and everything like we usually do. Real quick, I just want to go into the chat. Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak, thank you for being here, sir. And he mentions, remember, it's no more than a family-friendly kid movie. Expect more than that, and you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, dude. I movies like that, I don't go into with like thinking they're going to be an acting tour de force. You know what I mean? It's going to be some flashy special effects, some over-the-top acting, maybe a couple of decent jokes, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm good with that. But
and I do have my favorite Trash Pandas up this week. I don't know if you can see it with the glare.
You got a review to do this week?
No.
God damn! Oh, I know. It's
Can you see?
Annie, yeah, I see Annie and Unipuna. It's from Dominion Tank Police, Masamune Shiro, before he went batshit crazy, and just became all about tentacle porn. But
you can't get enough of that, okay?
Hey, man, I'm ass and titties, man. It sells. All right, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This is turning into one of Antonio's streams. But no, dude, like he was like Dominion Tank Police and the original Ghost in the Shell are two of my favorites, man. Black Magic M66. It's just that
Orion is freaking awesome.
Orion, yeah. About 15 years ago, man, he legit went just freaking crazy. And he's just like, I'm just gonna do porn from now on because it does sell. So what are you gonna do? But yep, but we got a lot of things to get into, guys. I'm trying to think. Should we start with it, or you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, let's just go. All right. So for my Comicsgate guys, this weekend we saw the return of one Mr. Cridious, the creator of Detective Dead. Let me go ahead and throw that up on the screen here real quick here. And yeah, to say the least, it was interesting. I was there in the chat the whole time. Big thanks to Antonio Bryce for having the balls to even do that show. I think he did a great job trying to mod that. I mean, he did the best he could with that situation, man.
Oh,
and to be honest, some of the stuff that came out from Cridious during that show just blindsided everybody. It was like, I don't know how many times the look on everybody's face was, what? Like this is literally the reaction that a lot of us had during that thing. What? What the fuck? Like, no bullshit. All kidding aside, it was intense, man. And everybody's talking about it. And yeah, Tom isn't going to know what the hell's going on, but George, you were there. You saw what was going on.
Yeah.
What's your impression of it, man?
My impression, weak. He just puts, his credibility was shot because he wasn't delivering, and there was a lot of talk. And he said that I'm going to open it up. I'm going to tell you the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so to speak. And the best thing he could have done for himself is to actually keep his mouth quiet, but he didn't. He actually laid out a whole bunch of truth according to him. And when people started analyzing the truth, his truth, it wasn't adding up. And that's a huge concern. That's a huge concern for the backers, for sure. You can say to someone, I did this, and this. These things cost this much to do, and this is the reason why I did it. And at face value, you say, okay, sure, yeah, nice, no problem. But then when you start to analyze, not the reason, but the numbers, and then you start to analyze the reason behind those numbers, and nothing's adding up. It didn't add up. I did the math, and at that point, after I did the math, I knew something was not right. I knew there was, from my experience, there was no way this thing was going to be delivered in the manner that he laid it out. Getting a job doing Uber, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Technically speaking,
Uber doesn't pay shit.
Yeah, technically speaking, if you're going to make that much money after taxes, that's going to be like 5 years? This book ain't coming out, man. So I openly said it to everybody in the chat. So it was, hey, I have a solution. I worked out a solution in my head. I do that. I'm marketing, advertising, branding for the last 30 years. I'm a logistical fulfillment expert. I knew how to solve this problem, and nothing.
Yeah, and you were one of the people that during that show. By the way, I encourage everybody to go back and watch that show. My boy Antonio Bryce over on Akari Press did a great job of moderating that thing. Yeah, and he held his feet to the fire too, man. Like, he legit told me, he's like when he was, some of the stuff he said is like, dude, I'm calling bullshit on that.
Antonio Bryce can talk to you straight and call you the worst names on the planet, and the way he delivers it, you're going to go,
yeah.
That was the most heartfelt, awesome words you've used.
Yeah. Thank you for lube when you stick it in. But yeah, man. God damn, man. Yeah, and Arthur Brown just said I drove Uber and ended up in the hole. Yeah, dude. If you're not really careful with Uber, like you have to have like the right car, and you got to really hustle too, just to make any kind of money whatsoever. I know a lot of people that do Uber and they barely make ends meet.
Your constant fight with Uber is not only that; it's your car insurance is going to go up because once your insurance company finds out you have multiple people in your car.
Yep.
Your insurance is going up. You're fighting against the price of gas. Also, when are you going to sleep?
Yeah.
Because Uber doesn't end.
Cridious doesn't have a job, so. Anyway, guys, for the people who, for anybody who watches this who doesn't understand what's going on, I'm just going to do a quick recap. Cridious crowdfunded on Indiegogo a book called Detective Dead Crimson Moon. This is back in the early days of Comicsgate. He was one of those people that kind of he was one of those first tier of people that the big creators actually reached out to and kind of propped up. And he produced, as you can see on here, just under $39,000 for his book. Now, for anybody who's who's been up on the independent scene, you can make a decent book for that much money. That amount of money, you can make a pretty damn good book. Well, as long as you do it right, you're smart about your money and you do it right.
Well, I got 20 backers on my Indiegogo and Joking won.
Mm-hmm.
I delivered a 120-page book.
Yeah,
in a binder with original art and 18 trading cards.
Yeah, I mean, and there've been. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many different projects came out that made a fraction of that, and produced a decent quality product. But almost from the start, just from what he was saying, and almost from start. And by the way, real quick, Argos Creations just jumped in the chat, said, "Hey Bob, hey Tom, hey George, thanks for being here, Argos. Appreciate it, guys." Like I said, we dropped the link for the StreamYards in there. If anybody wants to jump on and say their piece about this, you're more than welcome to, and we always invite that. But getting back on this, from when he came on. The first thing that I had a problem with was the night before he came on, he put out this really, really cryptic ass tweet. And he said, for anybody who wants to see where the money went, this is where it went. And it was this big picture of all these friggin' books that he basically bought off of crowdfunding. Real quick, Galmer just dropped in the chat. Thanks. What's up, brother? Thanks for being here, man. Great dude. He does a. Oh, here we go. Real quick. I think you're muted. Uncanny Kodiak.
Hey.
There you go, dude. Wait, one second. I just wanted to say real quick to Galmer and my boy Boogie Bentley. They do their show every Friday on the S&B network. Check it out. It's great. They go over all the comics for the week, and good guys. They know their stuff. But okay, go ahead, Uncanny Kodiak.
He sent a thing saying that he spent it on crowdfunding.
So he sent out this tweet saying, and all it said was, for everybody who wants to know where the money went, this is where it went. And he put out this. It was 2 pictures, and it was probably at least 50, 60 books. Okay.
So I spent your money on
fund
books to fund other books that you could have got, and I got them instead.
See what he said when he got on the show is because that was the first thing Antonio is like, dude, you got to talk about this damn tweet that you put out because what the hell? Right. And he said,
I had missed it live, so I watched parts of it. It definitely seems like
real quick, guys. I screwed up. It's not Friday. It's Sunday. That S&B Network does their show. I'm an idiot. Like I said, we're going to make it stupid up in here. But what he said was when he got on the show, because that's the first thing Antonio asked him was like, what the hell's going on here? He said that he put that tweet out because he was trying to stir things up to get as many people into the stream as possible. So my reaction to that was mission accomplished, but I don't think it worked the way you thought it was going to work.
Yeah, you're not going to have happy people here.
Not to mention, you already had people stirred up enough; they were already showing.
Oh yeah,
up.
dude. I'm like, yeah, you didn't need to stir anybody else
Yeah.
up. Welcome to my boy, fine ass Frank.
Ew. What up?
But yeah, so that was like right off the bat, that show just started weird, man.
See, I watched it was like a 3-hour one show. I missed it live. I told Antonio, I was like, man, I missed this live. I'm gonna have to watch it later. But I kind of jumped through it.
Yeah.
And then I seen Ethan wouldn't even come on and talk to him. And he came on, and I've never heard Ethan that mad. That was legit. No character, no nothing. That was fuck this dude.
It reflects badly on him, man, because he brought him in. Like I said, he was Cridious was one of the first guys that he brought in, and
he's literally the big creators campaign that I followed.
Yeah, like he's one of the big he's one of the indie creators that they brought in and they propped up. Like that $38,000. The reason why he made that almost $39,000 was because they were pushing him, because they believed in what he was doing.
I've actually been on streams with him, so I kind of felt like I don't want to betray him by saying this or that on them. And a friend of mine last night kind of gave me the hard truth. Is I had already kind of felt this guy before he had bailed. I was on Elliot Fernandez's streams back when he used to stream, and Cridious was on, and it was one of his last time I heard from him. So I actually super chatted Ethan and was like, hey, what happened to Cridious? And Ethan's like, I'm gonna do my due diligence to try to find out what happened to Cridious. And then he couldn't find him at the time.
Oh no, dude, he went 0 Dark 30.
Yeah. But I kind of had this vibe, this spider sense that it was happening before it happened, before he darked everybody.
Yeah.
So it was getting strange. And see, somebody's actually the friend that was talking about Detective Dead said, Brand was posted at the same time, and it's taken that long for Brand. I'm like, yeah, but you always, Kanan was always on stream drawing. Yep. He was always, Antonio was always showing artwork. Yeah, it took him a long time because it was their first successful run, right? But we knew where they were at. We still know where they're at. We've seen the living room full of books. We know he's fulfilling now as we speak.
Yeah.
Cridious was never like that.
No.
It was always a question mark.
And there was a lot of I heard from different channels about the situation that Rod Looper, the guy who's doing the artwork for the book, he put that sucker that like anytime anybody would ask him, hey, what's the on Detective Dead, and he's like, yeah, it's we're working on it. It's like, hey, I'm working on it. He's working on that thing at a leisurely pace is what's happening. But not only that, going back to the show, one of the things that came out of the show was that after he fulfilled, after the campaign ended with that $38,855, he knew right then and there that he didn't have enough to finish the book. Because to pay his artist, to pay Rod what he wanted, and to pay the inker and everything, he only gave him enough money to do the first, I believe it was the first 60 pages. That's only half the book. Yeah. So right from the beginning, he knew to do this book the way he wanted, he didn't have enough. So right then and there, he should have been like, you know what, guys, I have to refund this money. This is my dream project, and if I can't do it right, I don't want to do it. I appreciate your support and everything. I'm sorry. Here's your money back.
No, I actually think he kept pushing it after he knew he wasn't going to fulfill. I think he kept trying to, because he was in demand for a long time. So
yeah,
I don't know how it works. I know they get one cash out right after.
Right. Well, I see that. That's actually, I have a theory on what was going on there, and that's actually what I'm going to put it forward here after we talk about this for a little bit. But then and then during the show, he did a breakdown of where all the money went. And I gotta tell you, man, and then we were talking about this before we went live with this, man. Either he is an absolute moron, or he just mismanaged the shit out of this thing. Because some of the stuff that he blew money on was some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. He said he blew $200 on fonts. Like, there are, for starters, there are literally hundreds of thousands of freaking free fonts. But if you've got a professional editor, they've got their own.
Did it kind of seem like he was saying stuff that he thought would get over on people? Like it wasn't legit? Because that's what Antonio's attitude seemed to be.
It seemed like what he was trying to say is, like I said, again, before we even went live, George and me were talking about this. And it seemed like the way he came out, like as soon as he came out, he said, "I'm not here to defend myself." As soon as he said that, I'm like, "Oh, geez." He's like, "I'm not here to
defending myself.
I'm not here to beg forgiveness or anything like that." I'm like, "Oh God, here we go."
Yeah.
He's not. His attitude about the whole thing was really flippant. He was just like, "Yeah, I get it. Everybody's mad." I'm like, "No, dude, you don't get it."
Mm-mm.
Like. People are pissed, and you're just basically going, "Yeah." So anyway, and I'm like, well, "No, dude, you can't do that."
Yeah, I mean, if your thing is, "Yeah, I got your money, it's gone, and you're not getting anything,"
so how are you?
Not a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to be pissed about that, and not just like, "I'll get over it," pissed. They're going to be like, "I want my money."
Yeah, I mean, it was just like
everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Never go full Cridious.
Never go full Cridious, man. No. But it was just like it was the way he came off and the way he was talking about things. It was like Antonio has this thing. He says, "Man, learn to read the room."
Yeah. Did it seem arrogant?
It seemed like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put forward my theory here. I think he 100% legit thinks that he's going to fulfill this book. He's already and he's already said that part of his plan is that he's going to go. He's trying to get a loan for $40,000. I believe it was $41,000 to through him and his wife are going to get a loan for between $40,000 and $41,000 or something like that, like $40,000, and he's going to use that money to fulfill the book. But I'm like, dude. No, that is again. This is one of the things where I'm like, this seems like he's an absolute freaking moron. You're gonna go,
and morons don't normally have an 800 credit score, and that's what you're gonna have to do just to walk up to somebody and be like,
not only that, but you're gonna saddle your family with a freaking $40,000 debt, and you don't have a job to help pay this thing off.
Yeah, how's he gonna get this loan? Because
through his wife.
What I ask him is what are you going to do with this money that we're loaning you? I mean, we're a bank. We want to know. And like, oh, well, I have this half-funded book, and I'm going to fund the rest of it. Well, let's see how you spent the money for the first half of the book.
Yeah,
and they're going to go, nope, you're not getting any more.
Let me share this quick observation of him right before he disappeared. For the last 60 days, and this is why I was getting that spider sense I was talking about. He dropped the link. He would advertise it, but there was no new art. There was no new. Here's how my thing's doing. It was only, pun unintended or intended. I don't know how to, but it was a literal last 60 days of cash grab. It was like he already knew he had popped the bubble, so get as much as he can and then disappear. Now, let me ask you this. You had $38,000, even if you don't have it for the book, you still had X amount. Didn't he say that his internet got taken away and he couldn't afford it or blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, I think he said that after he had blown the vast majority of the money, but he said he still has like $1,200 or something of the original money left.
About $7,000.
So basically, there was no reason to disappear except for hanging your head and running.
$7,000.
So he still has $7,000.
That's what
I thought it was more like I thought it was like 1,700.
I remember the number $7,000. That's the number I remember.
Okay, because I thought that I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch, but I know he has a little bit of the money left.
See, the way he talks real quick and mumbles his words, you kind of have to play it back constantly to get the right information.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway, fact of the matter is he doesn't have enough to fulfill this thing. He doesn't have anywhere near enough. Well, he does if he let me go into my theory first, and then we'll touch on this. I think what happened with Cridious is, like I said, this is his dream project, and he got in with the big CG guys, Ethan and Mike and John and all this. I'm putting Mike in there because Mike was CG back then. and they were propping him up, and that's why he got this $38,000, almost $39,000. And because he's in there, and he's like, and he was on their shows constantly, man. And they're like, "Hey, Cridious, what's up, man?" He's like, I think he started to get this idea in his head. It's like, I've done it. I've reached the point that I want to get to. I'm here with these professionals, and they believe in my project. I'm one of them now. You know what I mean? He's thinking, I can do this. I can do this project. And so even though he didn't have enough from the start, and he admits it at the beginning, he didn't have enough from the start to do this book the way he wanted to, because everything was going to be too expensive. He had these other projects going on in the background. He was shopping these scripts out to television studios and film studios and stuff. I think he convinced himself that he was going to get one of those projects was going to get picked up, and he was going to use the money that he got from that, like the royalty he would get from that, to pay for the difference in Detective Dead. And I think that he basically played himself. I think he convinced himself that this was going to happen. So what he was doing was okay. Yeah, what Argus said, basically spend money to make money. And George and I were talking about this, where a couple other creators kind of did something similar to this. But I think I honestly think that that's part of what happened with Cridious. I think he fooled himself into believing that this is what was going to happen. And I still think he thinks that, which is why he's talking about this stuff about taking out a loan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and in my head, I'm going, no, dude, you're just compounding this thing and making it worse. That you need to, like I said, read the room, cut your losses. Because the other thing too, and George and I was talking about this again before the show, even if that book comes out, what's it going to accomplish?
Yeah, there's a bad taste in everybody's mouth for it.
Yeah. No one's going to trust him with another friggin' project.
I mean, as good as Meg and Six Gun and all that stuff looked when I got it in the mail, by the time I got it, there was such a bad taste in my mouth for Mike Miller and all his projects.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like,
yeah, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
You know, and George, you were talking about that before we got on here. You want to elaborate on that real quick, because you know more about that than I do.
Okay. The scenario is this: that's the monies that he got, he spent poorly.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about poor judgment in trying to deliver something. There was a poor judgment with Jeff Hicks when he actually allowed the printer to send the book out naked, no protection, nothing, and stamp the address on the back of the in the back cover, which makes it doesn't make it a sellable item if anyone wants to have. So he says he's going to take care of the situation. Well, let's talk about Mitch Breitweiser. He's taken a very long time to deliver Red Rooster, and then he jubilantly gets on a stream and says, "Guys, I have some great news. This I didn't do anything on the book. I spent the last year, building business relationships and sort of opening up a company and all that stuff. This is what I've done with your money." I'm thinking, whoa, you just admitted to mismanaging your time. Let's forget about just the money itself. Let's just talk about time spent. He mismanaged his time spent. I want to build a big company and all that stuff. No. See, the people backed you for the book. They didn't back you to create a company or build yourself a big organization. People backed you because they wanted the book. You should have said that at the beginning. Guys, the money they're putting in is to help me build a company that's going to be worldwide. I'm going to have how many people employed and all that stuff. I'm going to make business deals and all that stuff. That's legit. Then, whatever money comes in, people get it. But
that
didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Yeah. Now the difference on this is I will say this one thing I'll caveat that sentiment with, though, is he did use the money. I do agree with you. I think he did use the money wrongly, but I also believe that book is going to come out.
Oh, no,
because I believe in Kelsey. I mean, I believe in Kelsey more than I believe in Mitch.
Kelsey is a workaholic. Yeah,
No, understood. It's like I said. It's I'm not.
But
I'm only talking about technical.
No, no,
all,
I get you.
all Kelsey's part is probably done,
Yeah.
or
No,
as much as he can. Yeah.
Kelsey is a mensch. The guy is a workhorse. So
Yeah.
I don't believe that he has lacked in his responsibilities. No, but I'm just talking about attention and time. You know,
Mhm.
it's ridiculous. And the impression that Mike S. Miller gives off is that he's funding the previous campaign with the current campaign that he's funding.
Yeah, I've heard some stuff about that.
Yeah.
And if you have just a very tertiary or just a very simple look at his campaign, I mean, he said that the Meg project and all that stuff was done a whole year, but then it took a year to deliver.
That's what I'm worried Cridious got in.
It didn't add up. It didn't add up. So
I think
again,
he's seen Mike's juggling and maybe thought he could do the same.
I think it was a couple of different things like that. I think he did think that he could kind of like I said, he had one of those other projects he was working on. He thought he could rob Peter to pay Paul with that.
Yeah.
I think he just deluded himself into thinking that he was going to be able to pull this thing off somehow, you know, even as it was crumbling around him. But at this point, and like I said, at this point,
I'm going to close my window, guys. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, sure. He needs to just cut his losses and just like Antonio said, man, just go away for a while. Because like you read The Room, it don't make no difference if that book comes out or not. The damage is done.
Yeah, the goodwill has been stressed out, and that's a problem. And I forgot the name of the gentleman here who said he got one of the books from Mike, the Meg.
Yeah,
he was so put off with Mike as a person that feeling translated to the product itself.
Yeah,
and if you want to extrapolate that, what Cridious has done, he has created a poison within Comicsgate, and that poison to the purchaser is quite possibly, and it's easy to assume correctly, that poison feeling will translate to other Comicsgate properties.
Yeah, well, you've already seen. There's a whole bunch of people that are already saying that they're not going to back any more projects unless they're either almost complete or completed.
It's funny that over the past month, 45 days, there's been a theme within Comicsgate that's we need to start filling the well back. We need to not just take from Comicsgate, but we need to bring back. We need to bring fans. This kind of thing totally damns that kind of talk we were just trying to push is, hey, let's fill this well back up.
Yeah, it's hard to build. Yeah, it's hard to build people up and prop them up when they pull shit like this, man. It erodes confidence. But yeah, I can't fathom him continuing to try to push this thing, thinking that that anything good is gonna come out of this. At this point, like I said, the damage is done. There's nothing he could do to fix this thing. He needs to wash this. He needs to basically just go away, and hope that at some point, I honestly, I wouldn't trust any project he touches ever again.
Yeah, see, that's the part that has me at odds. I openly have said that I have a solution that I can help you solve your situation, and there was no interest in that.
Yeah.
In fact, I wasn't really paying as much attention to the chat as you were, Comic Book Bob, but you did point out that there were other people who said, we will help you.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, based from my personal experience with Cridious being refused the offer, I would assume he refused the offer to those people as well.
From what I understand, there's been nothing from it.
I find that highly, highly suspicious.
Suspect, yeah.
Argos is like language, Bob. Dude, man, there's gonna be some F-bomb dropped here tonight.
Okay, I've noticed that I've swore a couple times. I don't know how it.
Yeah, dude. No, it's the sailors coming out in me, man. But yeah, it's. I've had a couple. I've seen. Besides you, there's at least 2 other people I saw that reached out and said, "Hey, I'm offering inking." One of the people, oh God, I wish I could remember his name now. He's actually a really, really good inker. So all those pages of raw pencils that Cridious says that he's got somebody that could do some really good inks on those things. So right there, and like we were talking about, man, dude, put it out black and white, newsprint, friggin', cut your corners, and there you go.
Dude, you just made me think of something. Holy, and I don't even know, like I said, I've jumped around on that. Cridious, before I divorced Mike, I think I held on a little longer than everybody else. I tried. But Friday Night Auctions, dude, he was a big spender.
Yes. He's got, no, dude, if you look, on that picture of, he said, where the money went, a couple of things that he showed were some pieces of artwork that he bought.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with your campaign. You're just admitting that you misspent. You embezzled.
Yeah. You blew money, basically. Yeah. But the thing is, if like George said, if he wanted to just get this book out and get something to his backers, it's possible for him to do. If you print on newsprint, if you go black and white and you print on newsprint, you're dropping the price of your books down seriously low. You know what I mean? So like you're cutting your costs way down, way down. You turn around and you sell some of that artwork, like if he sells like some of those covers that he had done and or the artwork from some of those covers he had done, or the artwork that he's already got finished, man, he could probably get enough to fulfill a black and white newsprint book. The thing is, though, like I said, this is his dream project. He doesn't want to do that. And he's still in this mindset of, I'm going to get my dream project done. He doesn't realize he's screwed. He doesn't realize that nothing. He doesn't realize that this thing is dead. And he needs to. He needs to just stop. He just be like, look, man, either just fulfill this thing with what you've got, and even if he just takes the stuff that he has, puts it into a PDF and sends it out, at least that's something. Let people see a little bit of where the money went. It's not going to change anything. People are still going to be pissed, but at least you could prove like, listen, guys.
I don't think he wants you to see where the money went.
Honestly, I don't think so either. I think that's part of it. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he doesn't want people to realize just how badly he's completely fucked up.
Yeah, but if you do it in black and white and get some capital, you can go back and do it the way you want to do it and re-release it.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, and if that's your dream project, get some capital, get some money in, and go back and redo it a year, 2 years later, and
it's crazy, man. It's just.
We say it all the time at my job. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal.
Yep. Don't be Eddie Guerrero, basically. Little call back to the Wrestling Council there. Check it out every Thursday at 9 p.m.
There's a lot more swearing on that one too.
Oh, dude, we're gonna have all kinds of ass and titties on that one. Anyway,
gonna get boogie banned eventually.
And he's already been caught in even small. I have a saying: if you lie in small, you lie. I think actually it's not my saying. I think it comes from the Bible. But small things lead to big things, something like that. And
small lies lead to big lies.
He's already it took a friend of mine says like he's like, it's John Diller. John Diller was saying, I've dealt with these kind of people my whole life. He's like, basically, he's from the hood. This is part of the hustle. He thinks this stuff works. It sounds familiar. And when he started laying all the things down, I was like, yeah, but Cridious, because he's my friend. Because
everybody thought of him as Cridious. He was a likable dude.
Yeah. And so I was kind of like, I don't want to backstab him. And I'm like, no. You're not the one doing the backstabbing. You've seen this coming, and now you're hearing all the evidence, and he was the one that's actually not doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you can highlight that, and you're not stabbing nobody's back. You're saying, hey, he did this. This is what it looks like.
Real quick, I just wanted to acknowledge the chat here quick. Argos Creation says, that's what I'm saying. He was a consistent super chat. Yeah, dude. He would go on like streams and stuff, and he would drop like $10-20 super chats just like that. So he was blowing money that he didn't have.
But he had it apparently.
Well, yeah, he had it. It just wasn't his money.
It is, yeah.
Now, I understand having an allotment for things like super chats. I understand that being part of your book, getting your book out there, depending that you already have, like Ethan said, having a financial account, having an allotment going, this isn't going to chip away from me getting the book done.
Yeah.
But that's part of getting out there. So I understand that to an extent.
This thing it was just very poorly planned. He went into, I think he went into this and he didn't have a plan, period.
No,
I think this thing took off. And like I said, I think he just changed into a different person here. Yeah. See here. George, are you sharing something?
No, that's for later. That's for later.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what the hell is this thing is popping up on my screen? But yeah, also to everybody in the chat, I know some other people came in here. We actually had 7 people watching it a minute ago. Please like and subscribe and definitely share this thing out, guys. I want to get as many people in here as possible. If I get enough people in here, I actually want to do a giveaway. I got a couple of cool comics I think would make a pretty cool little gift. But yeah, so I don't want to dwell on this too much, man. A lot of people already talked about it, and they've done a much better job than I have. But yeah, man, there it is.
Yep.
They know, Tom. I'm gonna mute you for a second until that thing's over. Yeah, this thing was just, it was hard to listen to. It really was. But I definitely suggest everybody go watch the original stream on Antonio Bryce's channel, the Kari Press. Like I said, he did a much better job of going over this stuff than I did. And yeah, it's you got to have a strong stomach to watch it though, man. Because if you're, like I said, like Antonio said, I backed that book on Kenny Kodiak. You backed that book, man, and we were all expecting something, and just the way that this thing went down was ugly as hell.
Yeah,
but yeah, I definitely agree with Antonio though. I think he needs to read the room, and he needs to step away and realize that they ain't no fixing this. But let me go ahead and stop the share on that right there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next subject. Like I said, a lot of shit went down this week. Oh my God. It continues.
Let me know if I overstay my welcome.
No, you're welcome to stay as long as you want, bro.
Yeah, go away. Yeah, go away.
All right.
You see my room's a mess. It's under construction.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if anybody has been keeping up on the X-Men, but yeah. So Jonathan Hickman, who took over for the X-Men, and actually the House of X, Power of X series that he did was actually pretty good. Hickman is one of those writers that I like his work. I like what he does. But when you sneak stuff like this in there, man, my head just got, again, I just kind of go, huh? It's, what? What the fuck? So anyway, let's go over this a little bit here. Scott, Jean, and Wolverine, the poly X-Men relationship may have a queer twist.
Oh, gross. What are they going to do?
There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I'm going to go over. But the X-Men are pushing more boundaries than ever before as the mutant nation of Krakoa stakes its claim on Earth, developing a new culture with its own language and asserting its right to independence on the world stage. Some mutants are also fighting a more personal battle for unconventional relationships, because that's what comics are all about. While the relationship between Scott, Jean, and Logan already seem to break away from the norms of monogamy, X-Men 7 may indicate it breaks away from heteronormativity as well. Okay. The series debut caused a stir online when fans noticed the diagram of the Lunar Summers house depicting doorways connecting the rooms of Scott, Jean, and Logan, As the series continues, the polyamory of the three X-Men becomes more clear, but up until now, they only seem to indicate that Scott and Logan were sharing time with Jean. Okay. Part of that surprised fans about the development is that there have been animosity between Cyclops and Wolverine for years. No, these two guys legit don't like each other. If you've followed X-Men for any amount of time through history, these dudes freaking, they borderline hate each other.
And it's not just Jean. It's not just jealousy. They don't like the way each other works.
Right. It's not. Yeah. Jean has been a hot button between them, but they legit have different philosophies. They look at the world differently. That if you go back all the way to the X-Men storyline Schism, that whole thing was because the two of them had different ideologies. Jean had nothing to do with it. They think differently. Now, they respect each other because they've been through a lot of shit, but they don't like each other. They never have. Galmer, the Speedo joke does not equate as same-sex relationship. Yeah, I do think a lot of what's being teased is bullshit. But the fact that so many people are keying on this thing, it's like, yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not angry about this. I'm laughing my ass off. So, and then Argos is like, kill me now. Actually, Claremont would have done this if he could. That guy was a swinger. Agreed. There's still the respect there. Gomer, it's media sensationalism. Yeah, I absolutely agree, Gomer. I believe this is absolutely what this is. This is trying to stir things up that aren't actually there. And I think it's kind of more of an inside joke than anything else. Anyway, the further stories, particularly outside the comics, reinforce the idea that each was jealous of each other's relationship with Jean, and that placed them at odds. Yet the polyamorous relationship seems to support the utopian lifestyle of Krakoa and indicates the two X-Men buried the hatchet. The other thing about this storyline, however, that they don't want to talk about is a lot of the X-Men are not acting like themselves. And this is kind of laying the groundwork in the storyline that Xavier is messing with people's minds. The idea behind this, a lot of the stuff in the storyline is the X-Men are not acting like heroes. They're not being heroes at all. And they're being awful in some circumstances. They just did a storyline where a lot of the mutants that got depowered during the House of M storyline are being taken to Krakoa. And because of this thing where they are resurrecting everybody, which they're not even, that's another hot button thing. They're not really resurrecting people. They're making copies of them. To get their powers back, they're murdering them. Apocalypse is basically standing there with a sword saying, fight me, prove yourself, you'll die, and then you'll be reborn as your original self with your powers intact. The Crucible. Yeah, that's it. Gomer's it. And it's like, are you freaking serious? You're going to murder people to turn them back into mutants because normal humans aren't worthy. And it's like it's stuff like this. They're leaving these little breadcrumbs and they're leaving these little storyline things, and X-Men not acting like themselves. And like, because there's a lot of X-Men, like a lot of the things that are going on in Krakoa, they should not be okay with it. The biggest one that immediately springs to my mind is Nightcrawler, because Nightcrawler is a Catholic. He's like a super devout Catholic. So this whole thing with like killing people and supposedly resurrecting them, which they're not actually resurrecting them, they're making copies of them. The original person is still dead. Like, and then like the whole thing where they're talking about like Nightcrawler is talking about making a mutant religion. That is not Nightcrawler. That's not the way Nightcrawler should be thinking. So they're laying these little breadcrumbs that something is not right. And Gomer said, humans have to earn the right. Ritual combat wouldn't have been my first choice. Yeah. And then like the best example of the perspective, the difference in perspectives is the current X-Men Fantastic Four book, where Susan Summer like lays it out. She's like, they're not the people that we knew, and they're not heroes. And but then there's a whole lot of political things that are going along as well. But we also see behind the scenes that the villains that have basically been given a pass within their society, like Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister, they're doing stuff behind the scenes that's shady as hell. So, but Yeah, so that's one of the things that they're not really talking about in this whole thing. And I'm actually kind of concerned because I think Hickman might be writing himself into a situation here that he's going to be screwed no matter which way this comes out as. But getting back onto this storyline, because it freaking makes me laugh. Now, in a shared moment in the latest issue, the two mutants appear to have gone much further than simply making amends. During a sleepless night, Scott joins Logan as they enjoy coffee and gaze into space. When Wolverine complains of his sleepiness, Scott teases him that's because of his body hair, too hot for covers others, and cool without them. The moment is oddly intimate for two former rivals, but the scene only progresses further from there. Scott invites Logan on an outing with Jean and the kids, hoping to have a chance to kick back and relax. Scott openly muses at the idea of Jean wearing a bikini, to which Cyclops adds Scott in a Speedo to the fantasy. Wolverine certainly appears to like the idea. They now check about music. Well, who could say no to that? Okay.
It's bad early aughts fan fiction.
Yeah, this is I think this is just meant to be a joke.
It's chumming the water. Somebody's baiting. You think somebody's just tossing it and seeing if
Yeah, I think it's a joke. I think Hickman is reading the stuff that people are saying online, and he's like, "Yeah, he's like, okay, yeah, let me tease this. Let me joke a little bit." Gomer says that it's hard for me to tell if the characters are just wrong or if the new status quo is simply that profound. I don't think so, dude. I think he's laying the groundwork for there to be something shady going on, because like everybody that reads it has, whether you agree with like the mutant status quo thing or not, they're laying groundwork that something shady is going on, because for one, they're not allowing certain X-Men, certain mutants to be reborn, like Destiny, because Destiny has the ability to see the future, and they're not letting certain ones that can interfere with their plans be reborn. They're also doing some pretty shady stuff in the background. So I don't know. It's regardless. Yeah, no precogs. Nobody that can see the future is allowed to be reborn. Period. In the largest, Gomer said, in the larger scope of X-Men, having them not taken anymore after years of fear and hate, like having them lean into the fear and hate, it makes sense to me. Yeah, but at the same time. Okay, so anyway, let me finish this real quick, and then we'll jump into the X-Men stuff a little bit. While there's certainly a case to be made that nothing has been stated explicitly, that's exactly what I'm saying here. People are reading into this way too much, and I think it's funny as hell. About the Paris relationship, the exchange certainly pushes the Brownies more than they have ever been in the mainstream comic. The X-Men were notable for their strides in LGBTQ representation with their character Northstar, but making two of the biggest characters in the franchise sexually fluid would be an unprecedented win for superhero comics as a genre. Yeah, well, that's debatable. Yeah, but anyway, like this came out, and I couldn't help but laugh at it, because people are pooping their pampers either way about it, and I just think it's an inside joke. They sort of explained that because Xavier and Moira know that they're going to fail, so they can't have anyone know that they are going to fail. I have a different theory on that. I think Moira in this last life that she came back with. So anyway, so for everybody that's looking at me with this, like a look on their face, like a monkey doing a math problem, who don't know what the hell's going on in X-Men right now, which is pretty much everybody in this freaking chat. Oh, Tom. Oh, sorry, Tom. I forgot I muted you because of the phone.
Jeez, holy cow!
You didn't even see the sign?
No, I'm too busy talking, man. I like the sound of my voice. I think what's going on is actually, you know what? Shit. Hang on a minute, man.
Now I feel bad because I seen the sign. I didn't understand it. I haven't used StreamYards. I've been in StreamYards, but I haven't used it, so I don't know how it works.
Yeah, hey Gomer, I dropped the link in there, man. If you got the time, man, drop in here, because you've actually, I think you followed this a little bit further than I have. But my theory on this is Moira thinks that with her latest life, with the information that she's got, they think that they can alter this as long as they're willing to do whatever's necessary to prevent Nimrod's creation. I think everything stems on preventing Nimrod's creation. And to facilitate that, they're willing to do anything and everything possible. Oh, you don't have a mic at work. Oh, you're at work. All right, never mind, dude. That's fine. I appreciate it though.
Was
But anyway,
House of M like 10 years ago or
House
more?
of M was a long time ago. Yeah.
So we're still seeing the repercussions.
Well, oh yeah, dude. After new mutants are now being born, but the depowered mutants, they never really came back. Some of them did, some of them didn't.
I figured by now they'd have rebooted it or whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, and so what's happening is the X-Men are doing some really shady stuff, and in a way, all of the things that their enemies claim that they were doing, like, oh, mutants are trying to take over the world, they're trying to enslave us, they're trying to take over the world. They're doing a lot of the stuff that they were accused of. That their enemies claimed that they were trying to do. They're actually doing it now, but they're doing it in a different way. Instead of doing it with force, they're coming in through the back door. They're using politics. They're using commerce.
I mean, depending on what angle, that would be a kind of cool story, one that I want.
It's an interesting story, at the very least.
It's what's really happening right now in politics.
Yeah,
in real life politics.
Yeah, but what's happening?
Overcorrection.
Right. They're actually kind of doing the things that all of their enemies were afraid they were going to do, which is basically taking control of the world and placing themselves above humans. But they're doing it in a different way. They're not using force. They're using diplomacy. They're using commerce. They're using secret meetings, like shadow government stuff.
I mean, that sounds pretty familiar.
And so, in a way, they're actually becoming the thing that they always claimed they never wanted to be, to make sure that they survive the future. So it's kind of like making a deal with the devil kind of stuff.
Who's writing this?
Jonathan Hickman. It's actually pretty well written. Hickman is one of those guys that, like, he plans out. He plans out everything.
Is he a social commentator? Does he add?
Yeah.
So
a little bit, but he's not heavy-handed about it.
Right, but he could be seeing what's happening, because it seems kind of like really reminiscent of what's happening right now, like a warning.
A little bit.
What if your good guys become your bad guys because they're overcorrecting, so to speak?
But what Galmer said is actually a good point. Mutants actually are better than normal human beings as far as their physical abilities and whatnot. But what this story is doing is it's actually laying the groundwork to show you that the X-Men actually aren't. That mutants aren't better than humans. They're actually kind of lowering themselves. They're actually, in a way, they're kind of lowering themselves to the humans' standard.
Well, not really even lowering. They are human, just more with a lot of different ability. They're still by nature human, so they're going to be like that.
Yeah. And Galmer actually makes a good point. He said it's kind of putting out the idea that every good guy is somebody else's bad guy.
Yeah.
And vice versa. But that's one of the reasons why I think that, because one of the things that's happening is that supposedly the X-Men have conquered death. If a mutant dies because of changes that Xavier had forged make to Cerebro, it makes a copy of every human's mind, of every mutant's mind, so that if they
basically
die,
like a transporter.
If they die, their mind is there's a copy of their mind in Cerebro, and then they have the means because of Krakoa and a couple of other of mutants. They kind of call them the Five. They can bring that person back to life. But that's the thing. That's another one of the things where it's like, okay, this is shady as hell, because they're not really resurrecting people. They're making a copy of them. The person that dies. And then an exact duplicate of them is created. So it's
like Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Cylons. But the difference is that person. So like when Wolverine, they have 5 different mutants plus Xavier. Basically, they grow, they hatch, they inject the DNA of the original person. They age them up through I believe it's the character Elixir, and then they put the backup mind into the backup of the mind into the person. So now they have a new version of that person, but the original person is still dead. You know what I mean? So it's like Wolverine at this point has died like 3 times.
Yeah, but see, I haven't heard anything about the separation of mind, body, and soul. I just heard the
That's
separation of mind and body.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, it's not even a separation of mind. Like the mind that's in the original person doesn't get pulled out and put into the other person and put into the other body. That person just dies and a copy is made. So in a way, Xavier has taken away their humanity with this thing and turned them into a commodity. Because it's like, hey, if we lose Wolverine, we'll just make another one.
And
see,
if I became writer right now, I would do a reverse Days of the Future Past, where you had to go back in time to get them to save this, and I would totally obliterate this storyline. It seems so like
no, it's actually a really interesting storyline. I just think that because of the way it's being written, a lot of this stuff that that a lot of people are basically saying, oh well, it's a polyamorous relationship, and now it's a gay relationship, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think when the other shoe drops and it is revealed that like the other mutants start to realize that some of the stuff that they've been told is a lie. Because I definitely think that that's where the storyline is heading. When that happens, and like Elmer says, like the key to this storyline is they are losing their humanity. Yeah. Throughout this thing. That's one of the reasons why I think they're acting differently. That's why they're doing things that they normally wouldn't do. Their humanity is slowly being eroded away. And I think when the other shoe finally drops, a lot of people that are putting forth these theories are going to be really pissed off at Hickman, because now all of this stuff is because all of this stuff about like the homosexual relationship between Wolverine and Scott is because of mental manipulation. Is because of, and I think when the shoe drops and it's revealed that stuff isn't true, that's the connection they're going to make, even though that's not what's actually being said. You know what I mean? So I think he's gonna be in some serious. I think there's some people that are gonna come after him for this shit because he's gonna reveal that it's not real. Even though in the storyline they haven't actually said any of this stuff. They're basically making these leaps in logic. And when this stuff is revealed that to not be true, they're going to be upset that it doesn't meet their standard. But as far as the storyline is concerned, I actually really like that storyline, the way he's setting it up. And like I said, when that other shoe does drop, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I would definitely. I mean, it's one of those books where like, and I know a lot of people don't like. They've sworn off Marvel and they don't care to read it anymore. I actually suggest reading it because I think Hickman is a really good writer. And even when he does stumble on occasion, I think he hits more than he misses.
You know, this is interesting that you say this, because what could possibly be is that he's going to take this concept to such an extreme and ridiculous point that it will be up to Moira and her ability to relive time to actually.
Well, she can't do it anymore.
Oh, that's right.
She only has a limited number of lives, and this live that she's doing now is supposedly the last one. But there's another element that's missing from the storyline too, and this is why I think that my theory on this is that Nimrod wants this to happen. Nimrod wants this to happen because this is going to facilitate his creation and cement his ability to defeat them, because they're basically becoming the thing that, like I said, that that the world was always afraid that they were going to become. And I think the linchpin to this is Moira's missing life. Of all the lives that Moira has lived, one of them is missing. And if I'm not correct, Gomer might know the answer to this better than I do. I don't think that they've ever addressed that missing life. She's lived, I think it's 12 times.
Actually, I think you kind of sold me on this story, to tell you the truth. It sounds
it's a really interesting story. Like the missing life is going to be the linchpin to this whole thing. And I think what happened is, I think Nimrod did something with that missing life. Either during that missing life, they got a hold of her and they got all of the information that was in her head, and then they mind wiped her and killed her so that information would not go back. And everything that's been happening after that point is basically Nimrod manipulating everything. McTaggart, she's not immortal. What happens with her, they did find out that she is a mutant, but she's a weird kind of mutant. She's a normal person, but at the end of her lifespan, when she dies, when she dies, her consciousness goes back to when she was born. And she's born with all of that knowledge. So she relives her life again, but she relives it with all of that knowledge.
Almost like
Groundhog Day.
Like Groundhog Day, yeah.
but she lived it. But what is it where you? My wife believes in this, that
reincarnation.
Had reincarnation, kind of like that, only mutant. That's actually an interesting power.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting concept. But one of the things that has not been addressed so far is Moira's missing life. One of her lives is missing. I think it's the 6th one. She died and there's no information on it. It's just a blank line. So, because that's one of the things that Hickman does is he puts these timeline things, and a lot of people don't like them. I actually kind of like it because I kind of like going into the history of things. But a lot of what he does is he lays out the history of the timeline of his story. And one of the things for Moira is they actually had all of her lives, and the 6th one was missing. It's just like this blank gray line. And that's in if you get the House of X and the Power of X books, like the miniseries, all of that's in there. If you're interested in this storyline, if you want to give it a look, just check out that storyline, and that'll tell you if you're interested in the rest of it. And one of the lives is missing, and that missing life, I think, is going to be the linchpin of everything. It's basically going to be the shoe that drops, is what it is. But I saw this dude, and every time I see this man, I just have to laugh because it's so silly. I mean, what do you guys? I know most of you guys aren't reading this, so what do you guys think? Frank's sitting over here just like.
It sounds like a really interesting concept.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
It's fun. Yeah, I agree, Gomer. All this pearl clutching shit is funny as fuck.
See, I've never had problems with political comics. X-Men's always been that way. I had problem where they weren't pragmatic about it. They were attacking one side all the time. I wouldn't appreciate it if they were attacking the other side, whatever I believe. I like it when they come out and say, hey, here's this you're doing, and here's your overcorrection, here's this, and that's what it sounds like it's doing right now. Like, hey, this is actually could be a decent story, except for the Scott and Wolverine thing, which is just the totally.
Oh, hell no!
Yeah.
When you said he's fuzzy, I'm like, just like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. He is not a bear.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Rob has too much power now.
I am God here.
I was one of those. I didn't care about Bobby Drake, except for the fact of like Jean Grey making him gay, which was weird. It didn't faze me because I was like, what else are you going to do with? He was whatever. The Wolverine thing. Wolverine is one of the most heterosexual. Yeah. Well, not just badass. He's very heterosexual since his inception. He's a chaser, if you know what I mean. He's actually had to calm down a little bit on.
He's an alpha.
Yeah, he's definitely. Matter of fact, he even touched on pheromones. He's got pheromones that make women come after him like crazy. That doesn't work on men.
Kind of works on me a little bit, but no, it's I'll be the first. Actually, I'll admit, man, I always thought especially in the early going, his infatuation with Jean was kind of creepy. Because he's like 100-something years old and she's like 18. when it first happened, it was like, okay, dude, that's a little, that's some Twilight shit right there.
It's Randy Savage and Stephanie McMahon. Come on.
Yeah.
You had to go there, man.
I did.
Seriously,
I did.
You had to go after the Macho Man, huh?
I did have to.
You bastard. Yeah. Ooh yeah, dig it.
I can't.
That's a clip I need to get right there.
I miss
to the top.
I miss Elliot Fernandez's jerk.
Ooh, yeah.
He did it perfect.
Yeah. Logan Weinstein. Yeah. Actually, a lot of people give Marvel shit for the Kitty Pryde Colossus relationship. I think the Wolverine Jean Grey relationship is way creepier.
Why did they give problem to that?
Because Cyclops was 18 and I think she was 14 or 15.
Colossus was 18, 14, 15.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a little. I mean, it's a little. I mean, there was always, but then also with the Colossus Kitty thing, they always are like we're not going to do anything until we're both of age. So with them, it was like, yes, there's an infatuation, but we're not doing anything illicit. With Logan, he was just like, I'm gonna tap that.
But they didn't get together until like the 90s, right? Like
right. Oh yeah, well, she was definitely well past age before they ever had any kind of relationship.
Okay. So before that, it was just flirtation, two teenagers. You know.
Yeah, it's probably why they're living on the moon. Yeah, I agree, man.
A non-controversy, I think.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, and yeah. There's also that thing where Logan's got this history of having young female sidekicks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
I mean,
dude.
they did well with Jubilee, though.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and I'm
the dad figure. He was not.
Yeah, I'm taking a piss. You know, obviously it was a father-daughter kind of thing, but yeah, it was a simpler time back in the '80s. They could crush and stay pure. But no, I thought this was freaking hilarious. But all right, so gotta move on from this one. All right, so next one up. Now, again, I think this shit's funny. Where you at? Oh yes, the Raylos. It continues. So wake up, Frank.
I don't know which is worse. The Scott. Wait, before we move on, you got to come up with a name for the Scott Wolverine O's. The furry O's. No, the furry's already a thing. The slogan. What? The slogan.
Scott Logan. Slogan.
Slogans. Yeah. Yep. There you
slogans.
Go. You heard it here, folks.
Yep. I'm coining it. Hashtag slogan.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, let me put this as a hashtag slogan. Fine. Cyclops. That's not a bad one either.
What was it?
Cyclops.
Cyclops. Oh, I like that
one. Because Wolverine's old.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Raylo fans are not happy with the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker novel. Anybody want to guess why? All right. Ever since Star Wars The Force Awakens premiered, some fans have shipped Rey with Kylo Ren. Yeah, let's ship the friggin' Mary Sue with the friggin' genocidal lunatic. Because that's sexy.
Genocidal crybaby.
Yeah.
Lunatic.
In Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the two shared a kiss after a newly redeemed Ben Solo sacrifices himself to bring Rey back to life. Yeah, because that makes up for all the millions and billions of people he killed. Unfortunately for some fans, the novelization brought out even more conflicted views for the ship. All in all, the novel does not confirm or deny that Rey and Ben had romantic feelings for each other. Instead, it leaves everything up to interpretation. The novelization refers to the kiss as a kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, celebration that they'd found each other at last. This essentially leaves it up to fans to decide how they view the characters. Basically, this is Disney going, yeah, we screwed up. This was a bad idea. Like, how can we retcon this? Well, it was a kiss of gratitude. Yep, let's go with that. The dark side is in our nature. Don't miss the finale. Oh, how this will feel like salt in the wound of many Raylos. I'm so sorry. While it
Comic Book Bob, remind me to kiss you the next time I see you, to thank you for having me on your show. That's going to be my kiss of gratitude. He's like, no. He's like, I kick Kodiak now.
That's a lot to unpack.
The kiss of gratitude.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I don't. 99999. Oh, how this would feel like salt in the wound of many Raylos. I'm so sorry. While I'm personally a Raylo, I never felt betrayed by the ending. Ben's sacrifice was his atonement for his actions as Kylo Ren. Yeah, no. The novel confirms it, but the kiss being one of gratitude, I don't know. One fan tweeted, well, get a life. Life sucks, get a helmet. She reminded herself Ben had been dead for like what, a day at most, and she already needed to remind herself that he helped her with Palpatine. Skywalker Rey is really gonna forget him the first chance she gets. And then is this freaking English? She reminded herself Ben has been dead for like what, a day at most, and she already needs to remind herself that he helped her with Palpatine. Period. Skywalker Rey is really gonna forget him the first chance she gets. And then nobody will ever remember Ben till ever exist. Well, we all want to forget he existed. Again, dude, I don't have a dog in this hunt. I personally don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. I just think it's funny.
I just
that they're
y'all
spurging
have
out like a little bitch with a skinned knee over the shit. Frank, you're my Star Wars guy. Help me here.
I can't. I can't.
He's given up too.
That's it. That's all you got for me.
You're fired.
Just stick a fork in this, man. They're done.
Yeah, you need a Donald Trump. You're fired.
You're not a Raylo fan, man.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Fascinating.
The silence like a
No.
butter.
No.
Man, oh man.
God damn it, man. Somebody help me out here.
Ain't nobody helping you out.
Give me
Help
something.
you?
I mean, I'm doing a show here, man.
I have never sat at home and hoped and prayed a movie fail as bad as this last one, and I don't like being in that place. So I'm like, just quit it. Just give up on it and give it to them and let them have it. So at this point, I don't even buy Star Wars toys anymore. It's like
I honestly, I don't give a shit about Star. And this is the thing. Frank is a much bigger Star Wars fan than I am.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what I have wanted to do was get back into the Dark Horse Star Wars. That's still fun. That's still
the
good
Dark
art.
Horse Star Wars comics were fantastic.
Yeah.
And actually, the current Vader, the last Vader series, that was actually pretty good too. Where they actually started off like right after the Revenge of the Sith, and it shows like how he got his first lightsaber and stuff. That book series, that was actually pretty good up to the end. I mean, it got a little weird at the end, but and then now the current book that they're doing is actually not bad either. It's just it's the movies, man.
The best part of Star Wars is the stuff that's not canon anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's actually kind of funny because they got that the whole new thing. The what the hell is it? The High Republic, and they're like bastardizing little bits of the extended universe, the legacy universe. They're like, oh, we really shouldn't have gotten rid of all this shit because there's a lot of good stuff here.
No, I called that. I had back when they did that. I was like, in a few years, it's going to start coming back as new to a whole new audience that doesn't realize it's being chopped up into little sacrifices.
Yeah, I think as soon as we started seeing stuff like Thrawn show up in what was the series that they just did? That's how much I don't give a shit about Star Wars anymore. I don't even remember the animated series they just did.
Rebels or
Rebels, yeah, that was it.
I liked Rebels, but I was watching it with my kids, and it was before I really found out. So
yeah,
it was before I seen because I watched even The Last Jedi at home. So I was watching Rebels right before that, and I was like, oh crap, it just
But Gomer says driving home. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate you being here, brother. But the whole thing with the extended universe, like they're slowly bleeding it back in, and even like the stuff with Kylo Ren and Rey in Rise of Skywalker, a lot of that is just bastardized from Jason and Jaina Solo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just badly done versions of it.
Yep.
Real quick, Argos Christian said the Dark Horse books were so good. There were some throwaways, but the sheer volume of good material is deep and wide. If you've never read it, there are years of great stories to find. Yeah, dude. The graphic novelizations of Dark Empire was one of my favorite books that they put out. That's a great story to get into. But
wasn't that kind of the one that started it all for Dark Horse?
yeah, it was. Well, wait a minute. Was it that one or was it what you call it? Shadows of the Empire, Frank.
I'm not sure. I want to say
they would at least be of the same class.
You're fired.
God damn it, man! You've got one job.
both of them were good series: Dark Empire and Shadows of the Empire. Anything with Ron in it is awesome, though.
George, help me, man.
He needs a Red Bull.
Seriously. Somebody inject somebody with dude. Give him some freaking heroin. I don't know something. Anything.
That's the wrong way.
That's not
I don't know
help
shit about drugs.
All right. Let me throw this out there. Kind of snap the heads around here. The storyline in Rise of Skywalker is a copy and paste of. Ready for this?
Razor Lost Ark.
That's right.
Yeah, I've heard that theory before.
No, it's not a theory. I outlined it. Put an article in Bleeding Fool. I'm the one who actually publicly announced it to everybody.
Oh, okay.
I'm the source of that theory. But here's
it's a conspiracy, man.
It is.
I connected the dots, man.
At every point, or even right down to the minute, sometimes the second, it's all connected in chronological order too.
We only got 1 inch of topsoil left, man.
Yeah,
it's all Lucas's fault.
They're scraping it.
I'm telling you, man. It's bottom of the barrel.
You know what's interesting is that they shun away from the original trilogy to try to make a new trilogy, and they failed miserably. This has got to be in the history books the world's greatest waste of money ever produced for entertainment.
That's a bold statement.
Actually, no. Wait a minute. Cats comes really close.
Cats, dude, man. I want to be a fly on the wall of that freaking show of that meeting where they're pitching that freaking movie, man.
I gotta get me a cat suit for a character. That'd be funny.
Just the reception on the trailer alone should have said to them, "Okay, you know what? We can burn the film now and save ourselves some money."
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's like was it the producers, man? We're gonna make a flop to make money.
Which was you saying came first, Shadows or Dark?
I think it was the Dark Empire.
Yeah, because they were they were novels too. And
my Star Wars. Well, I know Shadows of the Empire came as a novel first, but I think Dark Empire came as a graphic novel first.
Dude, I just told you that I didn't care anymore, and then I looked this picture up, and that picture of Luke all in black with his fist like this. Dude,
I'm telling you, nostalgia
is like
OG Star Wars is the shit. It will make your dick hard.
Yep. There you go.
But yeah, this new stuff is like getting
vagina wet. But
yep.
I have to admit something. In the Rise of Skywalker, I mean, just
sorry, you said Rise of Skywalker for a second.
Okay, in that episode 9, those precious seconds that Luke Skywalker was on the screen was like.
Did you just say poop Skywalker?
No, precious seconds.
Precious seconds that Luke Skywalker
was on the screen. Was like you just got a rush of the best crack cocaine you could ever get, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Well, it's because he was actually acting like Luke for a fucking second, and then he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Just like crack cocaine.
Yeah. First hit's free, baby.
Thought he said he didn't know anything about drugs.
Help me, JJ. Let's suck your dick. No, anyway.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
No, I think the problem with these guys is none of them are on any drugs. They're all on like prescribed, like Ritalin, and this is the Ritalin generation that's taking over.
But anyway, that's all I got. Anybody else got anything? Any projects you want to push? Got any shit you want to talk?
Yeah. I like the audience to know something.
That guy
awesome.
He's got something to say.
Okay. I'm going to let you close, George, but Kodiak, anything?
Man, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to build up my my YouTube channel just to start doing toy reviews, anything to help bring some audience back
Right.
to the well.
Drop a link into the private chat, and I'll throw it into the comments section.
All right.
All right, Mr. Gatsis, sir, hang on a second. I will let me stop sharing the screen here, and I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, I like to tell everybody that I'm quitting comic books. I'm going to be opening up a pizza store. It's going to be called George's Pizza and Pasta.
Well, shit. All right.
Why are we all in?
What? What the fuck?
Okay. I contacted a lot of people, a lot of artists, creators in Comicsgate, and I've asked them if they would like to do a team up puzzle trading card for my next campaign, which is Joe King saving everyone again for the first time. And I got yeses. I got a yes from Cecil, and I've done a Cecil trading puzzle trading card that will be available for the campaign.
Ooh.
I got a Narwhal trading card puzzle.
Nice.
Yeah, it's getting better. I got a Canadian Shield from Rick Piper.
Rick
trading
Piper,
card. Mike Angerhouse.
Nice.
Another fine CG artist, creator. Nathan Masters, another fine time code mechanics, another fine CG.
Chrono Mechanics. Yep.
Grayscale.
Grayscale. That's actually an interesting book, man. I gotta check that one out.
It is, and
Might have
the,
to do it.
and the fine people at Grayscale, they said yes. And
Cool.
I think this is my favorite so far. I mean, they're all my favorites. I love them all, but this one with Joe King with his hands in the cookie jar and Grayscale just racing after him to beat him to a pulp. It's just so simple.
Okay, so these are all sets then.
Yeah, these are all sets.
The two go together.
Yeah, they go together.
Dude, I'm old and I'm slow, man.
The great
Donald DeLay, baby.
Donald DeLay. I know he was busy. I just took a long shot. I said, listen, if you don't have any original art, do you have any something that you haven't used? I was scraping the bottom of it. I'm not scraping the bottom of the barrel, contacting Donald. I was asking Donald, I know you're busy. Do you have anything laying around that you haven't used at all?
It's like, grab that wadded piece of art in your trash bin. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And he sent me the artwork and said, yeah, I'll do a narrative. By the way, all these cards, I didn't create the narrative until after I got their artwork, except for Cecil. I created the Cecil card because, well, Cecil wasn't going to draw anything because, well, Cecil.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
I created the narrative just based on his character being on the little dinky bike. But Narwhal sent me that illustration. He said, "Can you do something with this?" And I created a narrative around that illustration. Again, with Rick Piper, he sent me that illustration. Created a narrative around that illustration. Angerhausen, oh my gosh, this guy. He says, yeah, I got an idea. So he sketches something on his iPad. I go, perfect, that's it. He goes, okay, I'll make it nice by tomorrow morning. I go, no, you don't understand. That's it. That's the illustration. I'm sticking with this. He goes, what are you talking about? I just scratched this together on the iPad. I said, no, man, you don't understand. I can work with this. I got a narrative already set up in my mind. Boom, here it is. He was totally shocked. He was totally shocked.
excellent.
Nathan Masters, he said, yeah, okay, I'll put something together for you. He sent it to me, and I created a narrative around it. And this particular one is these two are going to all-you-can-eat monster eatery restaurant. and again, the Grayscale team, I said, just give me something, just make something up. I'll work a narrative around it. This was actually the hardest one to do because I had to draw all those candies, and not the Hershey, the Hishi bar. Okay, the Hishi bar, not the Hershey bar. and of course the hand in the cookie jar. So Joe's making a run for it, and again, Donald DeLay sent me that piece of art, and I just threw Joe right into the maw of the creature. And there's other cards coming. These 8, I think it's 7 cards so far are what I've completed. There's going to be a lot more cards from as many comic book, what we call CG, Comicsgate creators out there in this campaign, because now that I have a proof of concept with book 1 and the humor of Joe King, everybody's going, yeah, okay, I get it now. Before, it was an idea, and it was hard for people to wrap their heads around. And it's a lot of fun creating a narrative based on something I don't even know. And anyone's interested, these cards, there'll be a very special exclusive set of these cards for the people who sign up early.
Yep, I just dropped the pre-launch in there for you, so it's in the chat.
Thank you very much. And the standard cards will be available in the campaign. There was 18 trading cards available in the first campaign. This time around, I think I'm going to match that, or actually exceed it to 27 trading cards.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun with teaming up with these great creators in Comicsgate that I'm opening it up. If there is any Comicsgate creators here listening to this broadcast now, or on replay, contact me on Twitter. You can't miss me. George Peter Gatzis, and let me know what you have in mind in terms of a character, and I'll create a narrative around it. It's a lot of fun. I get to have fun with your characters, and tell my audience about your characters as well. Nice little team up. Propping everybody up, raising everybody up together.
Yeah. A rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah, that's the word. I forgot. That's the sentence. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. All right. So before we put it out there, before we end the show, I always let me put this up here. Yeah.
Just signed up for the pre-launch. That's awesome. I love cards.
Hello. I love wrestling. God damn, I love wrestling so much. And this is New Japan, so all my buddies over at the Wrestling Council can kiss my ass. New Japan is fantastic.
This is wrestling.
This is wrestling, man. That's AJ Styles right there. Luke Gallows, and
Maria.
I don't even know her name, but
I like wrestling. Is
I like the wrestling so much. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks everybody. George,
check out that weave.
No, don't cut out so quickly.
I'm not, dude. I'm just gonna go down the list here, man. We're gonna keep watching.
Okay, get off him dancing. We don't want to see that.
But Tom, last words from you, sir. What do you got to say?
Everybody take care. See you next week.
Riveting. Uncanny Kodiak, thanks for being here today, man. Like I said, anytime you want to come back in here, we always drop the link into the chat. You're welcome anytime, man. You were a lot of fun.
Cool, very cool.
Give me some last words from you, brother.
You're gonna regret that. I'm gonna be here like, you're streaming? You streaming?
Yeah.
Hey,
same Bob channel, same Bob time.
Yep.
Same Bob channel. I like that.
check out the Wrestling Council this Thursday, 9:00.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. My brother Antonio Bryce, my brother from he says that Boogie is his brother from another mother, but I'm gonna claim him. But yes, Antonio Bryce, Boogie Bentley, Yule Carter, and myself included, we have a great time talking about wrestling, and you will see more of this kind of stuff. Burlesque wrestling. You're damn right, man. I want more of this.
Bring some people in so they can give away Andre the Giant.
Yeah, dude, we got an Andre the Giant Funko Pop. Also, Devils is Jeff Hicks from Geeks and Gamers. But we got this freaking special edition Andre the Giant Funko Pop we've been trying to give away. We need 50 people in the chat, so spread it to your friends. Yeah, he does
look like a mix. I told him that online. He looked like a mix of The Rock and Andre the Giant.
Dude, he totally does.
Yeah.
But Frankie, give me some last words, brother.
Comic-Con this weekend, brother. Cleveland Comic-Con. We'll see.
We'll see, man. It's the first 2 years were great, but we got some friends we're gonna meet there. We should be all right. We're gonna avoid Preston.
With my glasses magnifying my eyes, is my eyes going around in circle like this?
Oh, dude, trust me, man. I got to. This is my. By the way, this is a.
Don't
WWE.
stare directly at it.
Yeah. Cover your eyes, Marion. It's like, what's there? Nothing. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons. I gotta actually run the game tonight. I'm gonna fail miserably, but yeah, thanks for being here, guys. We'll be here next week as always. Yeah, I don't know how to end this shit, so I'm just gonna end it with what I usually end it with.
See ya.
Peace out, y'all.
Deuces.